Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Kickback Lounge podcast. My name's Drew Young. I got my co-host in the building, Kenny Brown.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's up? What's up? In the building.
Yes, sir. And we got a special guest, old friend, old co-worker, but now he's doing some big things in real estate. Edgar Reyes, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing awesome, man. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
man.
So we want to talk to you guys about the state of real estate. Sounds kind of weird, but we want to talk to you guys about that, where we see the markets going. We got some charts and graphs, I guess. We're definitely getting into that.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yes, sir.
Got some business
Thank you.
inquiries.
So yeah, we were talking about it before the podcast. We're talking a little bit about where you see the real estate market, if you think it's going to crash, because that's something I'm interested in.
Same.
Because, I mean, we've seen the economy. We're kind of in a recession right now, and like we don't know how bad it's going to get. What do you think that's going to, like, what's going to happen in the future? What do you see?
I mean, for sure, man. Like all the economists say, no one can really predict what's going to happen. But
Mhm.
I mean, one thing that everybody's bringing up is the recession. I mean,
Yeah.
we're going into it. I mean, it's going to be hard to pull out of it. Our first quarter in the U.S. was like 1.6% of negative GDP growth, and it's not looking like it's going to get any better.
Mhm.
But recession doesn't equal housing crisis. You know, I got a chart here. It says, out of the six biggest economic recessions we've had in the past 30 or so years, only two of them really had a negative downturn for home prices.
Really?
And one was '08, and '08 was almost fully due to poor lending practices.
Okay. Let's get into that a little bit, because I'm sure a lot of people, especially our age, can remember around that time, like 2008, 2009, where like, I think they said one guy predicted it. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about predictions. Like, somebody told me this one time. Like, you can keep predicting like the economy is gonna crash. You could do that every single year, and the one time you're right is everybody's gonna be like, this guy predicted it, but he also predicted a bunch of other things. But what kind of happened in 2008, 2009 with the economy and like the real estate market?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's really complicated, but the person who gets the finger pointed at the most tends to be the lending institutions and all that stuff that was going on. You know, a lot of people bring up how they were a lot less strict back then.
Yeah.
And like we were talking about earlier, after '08, when Obama came in, they really passed a lot of the
Credit.
More credit and institutional checks. Like they passed the Frank Dodd Wall Street Reform Act, and that really got rid of a lot of that kind of stuff. And ever since then, I mean, that really helped stabilize the lending practices, because it was a little bit less regulated back then.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I wasn't around in real estate in '08, so
Right,
I'm just
exactly.
talking off of points that I've read and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So like, for those who don't know, like, when did
Yeah.
you get in the scene of real estate?
I got in about 2 years ago
Okay.
in 2020, so in the pandemic.
Okay.
It was kind of crazy, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm sure it's got to be like a weird time. What made you kind of want to get into real estate?
I've always had I've never been like, I never wanted to be a realtor, but I've always had interest in homes. Like, I don't know, it's like whenever there was like an open house at like nearby, I'd be like, let me go swing by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said, we did grow up in '08, so housing had a lot to do with the economy back then. It was like always in the news what was going on.
Yeah.
My family actually lost their house during the '08 recession. I got foreclosed on, I think it was like 2010, something like that. So that always jogged my interest. And
Interesting.
yeah, in like 2019, I met a realtor with my company that I'm with right now. And, we kind of talked about it a little bit, and I never talked to him after that time. He was at a restaurant that I was working at, and I just said, you know what, let me just do it, and jump straight into it.
Yeah.
And rough first year, and then I met someone who put me on a team where I'm on right now, and that really kicked off my business.
Yeah.
What was the like biggest pitfalls you ran into at the beginning of getting into the game?
They always tell you it's like just because you're a realtor doesn't mean that you get leads, you know, because you're 100% commission based.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I knew that, but you don't know it like 100% until you're actually doing it. And it's like,
Yeah.
I've been working for months and I have not made any money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, that's like the toughest part of it, working for months in the beginning, unless you're like 30 years old, you have a million connections or whatever. But when
Right.
you're, you know, like younger,
starting off.
it's hard because
Lots
you
of
gotta
networking.
really grind,
Mm-hmm.
really grind.
So it's about like,
Mhm.
so there's a lot of networking and making connections in the game.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. There's all sorts of ways that people get business, but a lot of it's networking. You know, people you know,
Mhm.
people you've worked with, people, that kind of stuff, referrals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Those tend to be the biggest sources of how we get our business.
Okay.
Mhm.
So what would you have to learn early on um about like networking, or like how would you do it?
I've never been big into networking. I was never about that, but then I had to learn real quick. I'm
Yeah.
like, man, I gotta start doing this.
Yeah.
And I'm still working on that
Mhm.
in general. But like you said, just the more hands you shake, the more money you make.
Yeah.
That's the old
Ooh.
saying they say.
There we
Yeah.
go.
So you just got to get out there, reach out to people you knew years ago that you might have like, they kind of like went on the back burner. You just kind of like forget about them a little bit.
Yeah.
Reach out to them. Like, you don't gotta be sales pitchy. You just gotta like have people remember you, because there's people who want to buy homes but they don't know anybody,
Right.
Yeah.
and they forget that you're an agent.
And they're just gonna go on
Yeah.
like Google,
Yeah.
whatever,
Mhm.
like real estate agent. You
Yeah.
know?
Or they're like, oh, my aunt's brother's cousin's hamster's dad is
Yeah.
a realtor. I'm just
Right.
gonna use them,
Mhm.
even though they don't even know them.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's honestly like me and Drew can both relate to that, like the more hands you shake, because it literally, you know, I've worked with, you know, door-to-door sales, so I've seen a lot of
Mhm.
faces, and like my commission comes off of like seeing faces.
Mhm.
Drew, you know, works in radio, so like some stuff like that, you know, you really do have to do a lot of networking.
Oh, for sure.
Like, what would you say is like the best time to like start that whole mindset? Because I mean, we've all gotten it from our jobs, but like, don't you think the average person should like apply that to everyday life?
Absolutely. I say, you know, the younger the better. I've always felt like I had the need to like get out there and just like
Right.
hustle.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like now I've kind of like realized how to hustle more efficiently,
Yeah.
if you will.
Okay.
Because like, you know, I started working when I was 15. I was just always just trying to like do everything I could
Yeah.
to keep making money. And I'm like, you know, I was working for $9 an hour back then.
Yeah,
Now
bro.
it's illegal. Now you can't even. Yeah, now
Yeah.
it's like 12.30 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I feel like starting that early on is always going to be better. And
Facts.
even if you're 25, 30 years old, you can still start 40 years old.
Yeah. Do you have a figure, a certain person that you look at? Just, it doesn't even have to be just real estate,
Mm-hmm.
but just that you look at as inspiration to help you do what you do.
Absolutely, man. Every single day, my boss, Kelly Shaw, she's insane.
Mm-hmm.
She, our team last year, we did 27 million in sales, which is a significant amount.
Yeah.
She did a majority of that. She did a well over the majority of that. She did like probably like 90, 85, probably like 80, 85% of that. So
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh my
man,
God.
I'm like, dude, I need to be like her. Like
Yeah.
every day, you just look at people like that. And it's
That's
like,
awesome.
you know. So I'm thankful to be on that team, and that's someone I look up to. You know,
Yeah.
someone,
Yeah.
she grinds like nobody else.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
infectious, isn't it?
It is infectious, and it's like she's I've never met anybody like her.
Mm-hmm.
But just like, even if you could be 40% like her,
Yeah.
that's gonna make you a whole lot better.
Yeah.
You know?
100%.
So is there any like advice you got from her that you kind of use today?
Man, I've got so much advice from her. Something that I could share with you. What would it be? Maybe something like, you know, you can't be out there trying to make money.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be out there trying to like do right for people.
Okay.
Mm.
Because like when I got into it, you know, money is like a big thing.
Yeah.
Big thing for real estate, because you look at all these giant commissions,
Mhm.
but you know that comes off, and people are like, "Oh, you're just trying to make money." And it's
Yeah.
like, and that's not how you do repeat sales. You do
Yeah.
repeat sales by changing someone's life for the better, and like actually like,
100%.
you know, making a difference, getting
Interesting.
them in at a good price, not trying to just nickel and dime people.
Yeah.
I'm not realtors. I'm not going to say that they do that, but I'm just saying that's we really we put a lot of effort into making sure we're doing right instead
Yeah.
of just trying to
And
make a sale
ethics and
close.
everything.
Absolutely.
That's
I think it's a
interesting.
big thing.
Yeah,
I think
it's
a
very
huge
interesting.
thing.
So like, what goes into selling a house to a person? Like, what goes into selling a home to a person?
Yeah, there's a ton of steps, man. I mean, do you want me to go through the steps, or what are you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I mean, like I said, we have an audience, around our age. Definitely some new homeowners, definitely people who are probably stepping into the field, just don't know how to approach it. So like,
Sure.
what goes into for your side, like selling a home to a person?
Well, definitely the first step is going to be to either find your loan officer or find your agent,
Yeah.
because one of them is going to refer you to the other, and it's usually someone who they've worked with multiple times with before.
Mm-hmm.
They've had great results, and that's it. That you build your team. You build your team first, and they're going to walk you through that kind of stuff. You're going to get your pre-approval. You're going to get a buyer's conference. They're going to tell you about the buying process there. And after that, you see some homes. You know, once you find the one, you submit your offer, and there's more steps after that. But that's the steps from just getting into it to
Just the thought
getting
of,
under contract.
right, just
And
to
then-
get in there.
Right, and then there's a whole nother little process as well. But
Okay.
at that point, you already have your agent, you already have your loan officer, title company, and you're just going through the final phases.
Yeah.
And this kind of is like a sister question to that one, but like,
Sure.
when is the right time to kind of get into the housing market? Because I know that you kind of mentioned, 2008. You mentioned like we were going into a recession right now. When is the perfect time to buy a house? Would it be coming out of that recession? Would it be going into the recession? Like, when is that perfect time?
That's going to depend on your individual needs. It's going to depend on how much of a gambler you are.
Yeah.
Because if you asked me, I would say, I mean, right now is a good time. But here's the deal: are we going into a recession? Yeah. Is it going to be a housing crisis? Likely not, because home values are still appreciating. They're just appreciating slower. They're not jumping 20% in a year. Now they're jumping like 6% a year, which is more normal.
Okay. So it's just not as crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
if you think it's going to crash and you're hell bent on that, wait it out. But in my opinion, that is going to hurt you more. It's going to benefit you because of the numbers that we're looking at.
I heard one time that land is like the best thing you can own. What do you think about that?
I like that quote. Yeah, they say, what is the quote? I can't remember who said it, but someone said that land's one of the best investments you can make because they don't make it anymore.
Yeah.
So I think it's not a bad investment, especially if you can afford to buy large amounts. But if you're talking about people who are younger, it's going to be very difficult to invest in land because of the way the loans work on that kind of deal. And also, it's kind of speculation. You're guessing where is going to get more developed in the future.
What do you see in St. Louis about that development?
So in St. Louis, there's a lot of stuff going into North City. I don't know if you guys are familiar with all the economic development going there.
I've seen some
some things.
Some scams. Or
Scams?
Like, okay, so the alderman and North, I think it was North St. Louis. Something happened with the alderman where they were taking bribes to like build certain things. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, they're doing an investigation now, like the feds are. So it's kind of crazy. They were kind of like picking and choosing who got or like what got to get built. It's crazy.
Dude, that's crazy. Yeah, I never heard about that.
Yeah.
I mean, but economic development in general, like we've got the stadium coming in down here.
Have you been down there?
I passed by. I haven't looked at it or nothing.
Yeah.
But
it's crazy because like you said, there's a lot of development there.
Yeah.
And usually a good indication of like future economies, like if you see a lot of things being built.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's just a weird spot because like I think so there's the stadium and then you go down the street, it's like abandoned buildings.
Yeah.
And like a lot of which looks like, depending on who you are, looks like opportunity.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I don't know that much about that little niche right there to tell you.
Yeah.
But in terms of what I do know, I whenever I was getting like last year, whenever I was kind of getting my my foot in the door with investors and stuff, I sold a lot in North City. That's what I was gonna tell you. They got the NGA building down over there. Did you see that at all?
I have not.
National, I think Geospatial Agency or something like that. It's a giant. Dude, you can see it from space.
Yeah.
If you look at a satellite,
that's crazy.
There's a big old brown like square.
Yeah.
That's like all the dirt that they're moving.
That's insane.
And I think they're building a university. I don't know if they're still doing it. It was the Ponce University.
Okay.
Building. there's some stuff going on over there, man. And North City used to be decent. It was a
Yeah.
good place to live.
Yeah,
Long time ago though.
Yeah.
a lot of young people are living in South City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
South City's really, really popular.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Especially with like millennials and
yeah,
yeah.
definitely that
kinda
like that
grew.
30,
Yeah.
40, yeah, that
So-
30, 25.
You would say that's the
Trendy.
place to look at, definitely North City.
Look, I mean, North City's a gamble because, I mean, who knows if it's going to get better after that?
Mhm.
But there's a lot of money being poured in there. That's a fact.
Yes.
There's money being poured in there. There's a lot of investors that are buying there. I sold a bunch of lots there, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sold a bunch of lots, some houses. I've had a lot of people that are interested in that spot.
Yeah.
Because there's so much money being poured in, but it's speculation.
Mhm.
So it might do well, it might not do well.
Yeah.
So usually we leave that to people who got the cash to splash and hold on to that.
Yeah,
Because
that's fair.
if you can't hold on to that for enough time, you might get burnt.
Yeah,
Right.
especially in
you-
St. Louis, like not necessarily the county part, but the city that's the number one most dangerous city in the United States.
Yeah, I believe we're definitely number one per capita on the murder rate.
Yeah, for murders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's which like I'm sure for property investing, it's a big thing.
Yeah, it is a big thing. We're seeing a lot of corporations buying here though, because it's still cheap.
Yeah.
Compared to like the coast. The coast, everything's, you're looking at $500,000 for a little shack.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's crazy, right?
But here, I mean, $500,000 is going to buy you a lot of money. You can buy
Yeah.
a few decent entry level homes for that much in some decent areas.
Facts. If you could work in any like market in terms of like state, what market would you work in?
I'd still say Missouri because I mean, I like Missouri and that's why I'm here.
Mhm.
I mean, if you're talking about like, where's the most action?
Mhm.
I mean, everyone always looks at like LA, Miami,
Yeah.
New York.
Big cities. Yeah.
Hell
yeah, but
love
I don't know any agents there, but I'm sure it's like impossible to break into those markets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you do, I mean, it takes you a long time.
Takes
You
a
gotta know
lot.
some people.
that. Yeah.
Because especially like everything that's on TV, when you're making those $385,000 commissions selling
Yeah.
those multi-million-dollar mansions, I mean, that's not something the average person does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you watch a lot of that a lot of like retail
Mhm.
shows or
Yes.
real estate shows? My bad.
You're good.
Yeah, we were talking about that. A lot of people call it retail. It's real estate. It's
Yeah,
real
you guys
estate.
need to call it real estate. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Do you watch a lot of
Yeah.
those shows?
No, I used to. I
Yeah.
didn't, never a lot. I used to watch like HGTV when I was little, but like
Dude, that is my shit.
really.
Yes. Whenever I forget her name, but she's like blonde. She sells in like Cali and stuff, and like she's selling like $1 million homes.
It's crazy.
It's just it's
Not sure.
entertainment at the end of the day, but like at the same time, it's like
Have you seen Selling Sunset?
no.
That's on Netflix. It's like a big old thing. It's like, I think it's like the Sunstrip Boulevard or something like that.
Yeah.
In like LA.
Yeah.
I haven't seen. I saw like the first 2 seasons of it,
Yeah.
and it stopped being about real estate. It started being about the reality TV
Yeah,
show. I
it's,
was
it's
like,
weird. It's weird how they do that because
Yeah.
like it would be like any show they'll cover like a certain company
Yeah.
or whatever, and there's always like a boss giving like changing their commission rate and everything,
mhm.
and it's like all about the drama and not really about like
yeah.
making sales and everything.
Wait, do realtors have like a group? Do you guys have like a little group that like you kind of
What do you mean a little group?
like you go out, you do your things
Yeah,
and stuff, and you kind of
everybody-
socialize. And
Everybody
yeah.
has their little niche,
Yeah,
for sure. Their
How
little
how
group of-
dog eat dog is the
that's all I was gonna say.
is the
Like,
game, the real estate game.
dude? It's like every industry. I mean, there's people who
Yeah.
are like,
There's competition.
yeah. I mean, there's all sorts of people who take it differently.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like every single industry, I'd say.
Yeah, I would say that too. It's definitely like I was gonna say, is it like more friendly in the fact that like you guys are all kind of doing a similar thing, or is it more like, you hang out and you kind of got that thought in the back of your mind where like, oh, okay, maybe they're just trying to get some stuff out of me. Maybe they're trying to,
I'd say with at least with our office, like
Mhm.
our company, like everybody's chill, everybody's
Yeah.
cool, like everybody's like, we'll help each other out. But like
Yeah.
if you're talking about like a competitor,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not gonna help us out or nothing.
Right,
they're the
right.
competition, but
Yeah.
are they gonna like do you dirty? I don't think so.
No.
They
Yeah,
tend to not. I mean, I'm sure there's some people who do, but
Yeah.
I'd say most of them are good people.
I feel like it probably also depends on which market you're in.
Oh yeah,
Because like
absolutely.
if you're in like Miami or California, like I'm
Oh,
sure
yeah.
it gets
oh,
hectic
traffic's
out there.
nasty. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
But that's just the culture. You
Mhm.
know?
Yeah.
that's true.
St. Louis is like a million times more relaxed than LA is ever gonna be.
Yeah,
You know.
Do you think that kind of speaks volumes? Like, is the city reflecting of like kind of like the real estate scene? Like, is like you said, it's
Yeah.
like if you go to LA, it's more aggressive because obviously
More
LA
competitive.
life is more aggressive, you know. But like you said, St. Louis is definitely one of those cities that I feel as though it's a melting pot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So when you're
Absolutely.
trying to sell, like, how do you kind of find that market? Like, how do you find your person you're selling to? Or is it just like, you know, you kind of get a vibe from them? Like, I know they come to you,
Mhm.
obviously, but like, is it more like in order for you to make that sell, is it better if you kind of have a connection with them, or not really?
Well, yeah, always, man. If you ever have a connection with somebody, they're always
Mhm.
gonna want to work with you.
Yeah.
As for, you know, do we ever turn people away? We don't turn them away unless we're not a good fit. You know, personality wise, if someone's like, you know, if we just don't work, we don't work. We're
Yeah.
not gonna lock someone in,
Mm-hmm.
put a leash on them.
Yeah.
But like, we work with like 95% of everybody who we come in contact with.
That's tough.
Mhm.
Do you have any stories, like any crazy stories,
Oh,
or that you either heard or experienced?
Oh yeah, but I can't tell you on the podcast. Yeah. I can't. I'll get in trouble.
yeah.
Yes, man.
Oh,
so
man.
let's loop it back around to the buyer side. Because I mean, we talked a little bit off air for like a little bit about it, but like, you know, I'm currently renting. You know, I'm paying almost a grand a month. You know, in a place that, you know, it's apartment, so you know you're not gonna own anything in the end. How do you feel about like the market of renting versus buying? And like, is it a waste of money to rent, or is it a bad decision to buy?
I mean, some people can't buy. Like maybe their credits messed up. They got you know, issues that's causing them to have to rent.
Right.
But if you're renting by choice and it's not for, you know, your work or anything like that, if you're just like, you know, I prefer to rent, it's probably not the best decision. And I always say to people who are, you know, younger like us, I'm like, look, if you're comfortable living in an apartment,
Right.
and you want to live below your means, why don't you get a condo that's like a garden apartment style?
Right.
That's going to be super cheap to get into.
Right. And I think that's the thing is like a lot of people with this mindset, like me, you know, we're trying to either go for a house or go to an apartment or like another condo. Like you said, like we want more space. You want that security, but you also don't want to, you know, you don't want to pick a place that's going to be necessarily bad in 5 years or a place that's bad in 6 or 7 years. So like, you know, it's a lot that goes into it, I think, for a buyer, especially in St. Louis. You know, we have a lot of areas that aren't necessarily like, you know, that safe. Is that something that you kind of have to move around, or is that something that you just kind of say like, you know, there's something you might want to just keep in mind is like your environment?
Yeah, you know, you don't want to put nobody in an area they don't want to live in.
Yeah.
But I mean, if someone's comfortable living in somewhere where, you know, it might not be the best area, if they're okay with that, it's not a bad idea because you're still gonna be building equity. You can still rent that out, and in general, it's probably gonna keep appreciating. Same thing with rental prices. Like I said, you can always rent that property out later, and rental prices, like I told you guys, has actually exceeded by percentage the price of homes since 1980. It's gotten more expensive to rent than purchase by percentage.
So let's say I want to buy a house in, well, okay, let's say a house that's 150, right? And I'm a young adult. I guess income matters, but
yeah,
what do I need like financially to be able to purchase a home?
I mean, that's more on the loan officer side. That's when they'd walk you through all that kind of stuff. They'd say, hey, look, this is where we need to be, you know, debt to income ratio. If you have student loans that affects you, you know, your income, all sorts of stuff. There's a lot that plays into that.
Yeah.
So I won't go into it too much because that's not my field per se. But yeah, you know, every little thing's gonna matter, and everybody's case is different. Some people think just because their credit's like a 620, they're not going to qualify.
Right.
That's not always the case. It's not always the case.
So what would be your advice to just kind of go for it, just to jump right in?
I mean, might as well if you can financially do it.
Yeah.
And you talk to your loan officer and they give you some figures, and you're like, you know, we can qualify you. This is gonna be your monthly payment, and you can bite the bullet.
Okay.
It's not a bad idea.
So what section of selling a home do you do?
Of selling?
Yeah.
Like on the buy side or the sell side, or what do you mean? Or
like your specific job?
Well, I do
Or
both.
do you both?
Yeah, I do both.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So do you like flip at all?
No, I don't personally flip.
Okay.
I've helped people flip.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I was
Yeah.
gonna ask you that too. I was telling him about this. So like, what is like that? Like, how do you feel about that whole scene?
Flipping.
Because I feel like this has become a thing with Airbnb and like this whole,
Yeah.
ever since that's kind of started taking off, people are like, oh, I got to get these properties. I got to start, fix it up real good. Make sure flip it, get back to the market. And I feel like there's a lot of that on HGTV. There's a lot of that, those Pawn Star kind of
Mhm.
shows where people are jumping into the scene trying to just get a quick flip. And do you like that? Like, has it hurt the market, helped the market? What?
It's always been a thing.
Yeah.
It's always been a thing. So I don't think it's done much.
Mhm.
What is arguably it's hurting the market is when the corporations buy and hold properties.
Yes.
'Cause, sometimes they don't even rent them or
Mhm.
sell them. They just hold on to them in a portfolio.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually it's arguably bad for the real estate environment because it's taking homes off the market from someone who
Yeah.
could be renting it or buying it.
Right.
So now both markets get more aggressive.
Someone who's going to be pumping money
Yeah.
actively rather you just like having it sit
Mhm.
there.
And they hold them in portfolios and they
Yeah.
just sell them to another group
Yeah.
and that's arguably bad. Flipping, I mean, that's always been a thing. It's almost a good thing because you're changing a distressed property or property that needs work to something that's ready for someone to buy.
Yeah.
Probably a good thing.
It seems like a lot more people who are just regular, 9 to 5 people, like, marriages, like couples who are like flipping homes. Like, it's insane to me, man.
Yeah, flipping's hard.
It's
Yeah.
very hard. Yeah.
Those that can do it, they can make some money, but it's very hard.
You have to know
Yeah.
you have to know just different aspects of the home. Like I see it
Mhm.
if you ever watch it on like TV
Yeah.
or whatever, they're looking at like electrical foundation. You have to know
The investments. Yeah.
certain things that are
Time
just
and
like
money.
wrong with the home. Like
Yeah.
you just gotta
There's-
recognize it's
There's so much risk involved. And yeah, I mean, stuff that's wrong with the home, they gotta visually see it, and also they get their inspections.
Mhm.
Right.
But they have to know it's like this is gonna cost me this much,
Yep.
and they have to plan like everything that they can see, and also try to plan for what they can't see,
Yeah.
Right.
and still make money on top of that. And
It's
in a
crazy.
market that's so hot,
Oh my
that's
God.
like impossible, man.
Yeah.
You can still do it, and especially if you can get with an agent that can find you something off the market.
Mhm.
Like we've found some stuff off market, and that's like how they flip or even buy.
Mhm.
But buying it just straight up on the MLS is very hard
Yeah.
and making money.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to like someone that wants to do your job?
My job,
Yeah.
I'd say it's a good job to get into.
Mhm.
You have to be self-disciplined. You got to be able to do stuff on your own,
Yeah.
and you have to have some money in reserves
Yeah.
because like I didn't make when I first started. I don't think I made any money for my first 6 months, and then I made like $600.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did that
And
feel?
Something.
How did that feel when that first happened?
I mean, it felt good. It felt really good, but it's still scary.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I don't have anything. I didn't have anything in the pipeline at the time,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and all I had was $600. I'm
Yeah.
like, "Damn." So
Yeah,
I
I
was
need
still
this.
working. I was still working
Yeah.
a part-time job at the time, and so it's tough. So that's why I'd say have some at least like 6 months of your monthly spending
Yeah.
ready for that,
Mm-hmm.
and hit it hard and stick to it.
Yeah.
But it's not the barrier of entry is not crazy to get into real estate,
Mhm.
but being successful in it is very difficult.
Yeah. So
at a high level, at least.
Yeah.
So outside like your company or just anybody you work with, where else do you draw inspiration for that?
For
just like grinding.
man, I think it's just kind of like you said, almost like a mindset. I almost feel like maybe I was just like seeing my father and like seeing how he raised us. It's like we never needed anything. It's
Mhm.
like we didn't have like crazy things. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but we worked for our own cars and like paid our own phone bills and stuff. But like just seeing him like hustle and grind every day. He's a truck driver.
Yeah.
And I think he likes it, but I mean, just doing it every single day, just like
Right.
never complaining about it
The
ever.
truck driver grind is insane for people
really
that don't
is.
know. Because I
Yeah.
mean, I got a couple buddies in it, and they're
Mhm.
like,
I got a uncle in it. Yeah.
yeah, they'll be gone. Like, you have to sacrifice a lot.
Oh, man.
Like, even like you said, if you do have a family too, on top of that, it's
Months,
crazy because
weeks,
you could
yeah.
be gone. Like, it'll be like, oh yeah, Dad, I want to go to the park, or let's go fishing or something,
Yes,
whatever.
man.
They're like, oh, I can't. I'll be gone for like a week, depending
Jeez.
if they do like out of state, like
Yeah.
just national stuff. They could just be gone for like crazy amount of time. It's insane out of
No.
the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And just seeing just like him not complaining and like just
Mhm.
doing it, it's like that's definitely inspiring.
Yeah.
Man, I just think people were just built different back then, you know.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure your family as well. Just
Yeah.
like the older people in the family, just
Yeah.
just
The grind
do
was
it,
just
yeah.
different. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
What's like your earliest memory of St. Louis?
St. Louis. I
Mhm.
moved here when I was in 4th grade, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the earliest memory
man.
I have. It was like February. It was snowing, and I thought it was kind of cool because I liked the snow back then.
Yeah.
And I was living in we were living in a little apartment in Baldwin, and that's just all I remember. That's like the earliest I remember, I should say.
Yeah.
And
Did you kind of
Yeah.
grow a love for the city?
grow a love for the city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I like the city.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like sometimes we don't do enough for the city though.
Yes,
I feel like we let it.
100%.
I feel like we let it kind of go bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. And me and Drew, like, I mean, we talked about this plenty of times. Like, you know, we're born and raised in St. Louis
Mhm.
since, you know, day one. And so for me, it kind of took me time to wake up and appreciate the city for what it
Mhm.
was when I was a little bit older. When I'm younger, you know, you just kind of take it for what it is. You know, it's just a
Yeah.
city, you know, you kind of do stuff, city museum, art museum. Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
But it was like, once I got older, you start to really appreciate, like, okay, wow, we have a lot of people here. We have, you know, different parts of cities that are kind of segregated more than others. You just really start to be more critical of the city. And I think that, you know, early on, you really do find that appreciation somewhere. You know, like I think we talked about it last episode, but mine was like City Museum.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just seeing that culture and that art, that made me appreciate the city because it's like, oh wow, we have a lot of history here.
I mean,
You know?
for me, it's like, I mean, now we're older, we can go to like bars and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one thing St. Louis does a good job of is like the bar scene and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like he's got
Yeah.
some memories in there. No, but like, I don't know. It's when you have like a bunch of
Mhm.
clubs or bars, it's a lot of networking connections you can make
Yeah.
out there. You'd be surprised because half the time, like if I'm going out now, I'm making connections to like
Yeah.
do like meeting. Like I just met well, one of our buddies is a fighter, Joaquin Buckley. I think you heard of him before, right?
I feel like
Maybe.
the name sounds familiar. I definitely
UFC.
don't know him.
Okay, yeah, UFC fighter. But yeah, I seen him. I mean, we've had him on the podcast before, but I seen
wow.
him. He was with comedian, and I met that dude. We'll probably do a podcast with him.
Mhm.
But it's just like making connections like that. So just being around that environment, or like seeing like the soccer stadium being built, seeing
Yeah.
the sports being downtown, I definitely feel like I want to probably live down here. I just wish the crime wasn't as bad as it is.
100%.
know. Yeah.
100%. And that's kind of, that goes back to what you were saying, man.
hmm
You know?
Yeah, like you said. I mean, I completely agree. I think it's awesome. It's a great city, but like that's kind of my hesitancy as well. That the
Mhm.
crime just getting bad.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
It's like there was one game. It was a baseball game. There's like 14 car break-ins. It's like, bro, I don't even want to like park down here. Like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
You know? But it's hard to change that. You know?
Mhm.
Yeah, it is. It's very hard to change. It's almost like it's like a cultural thing. It's
Mhm.
like I feel like the people that are being put in place in the government I feel like they almost don't care for the city.
Well, look at the alderman
That's
situation,
what I was gonna
bro.
bring
Like,
up. I was
yeah.
gonna say like
Yeah.
if you honestly cared for St. Louis, you wouldn't do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a thought in your head.
Mhm.
Right.
I mean,
But
I don't know if it's a situation of like
greed.
it's definitely greed, but is it greed because like now you're in power, you see how it really works,
Mhm.
or is it we're just like choosing the wrong people to be in
Mhm.
charge? Who knows? You know?
Absolutely, but I mean, someone needs to do something about it, and
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's us. You know,
I mean, the feds are
feel like-
definitely like doing something about it.
absolutely. I feel like
Yeah.
us, we can do something on a local scale.
Mhm.
And it's
Yeah.
like when a lot of little people start doing something, it does make a difference.
For sure.
Yeah.
We don't need to wait on the federal government to step in every
Mhm.
time because
I agree.
you know they always take a long time and they always.
Yep.
I mean,
I'm sure you know working with the government, anything working with the government's
Yeah.
gonna take unnecessary amount of time.
absolutely.
Uh,
Man, what did Ronald Reagan say? He said the scariest sentence, something like that. Like the scariest sentence you can tell somebody is, "I'm with the government and I'm here to help."
For real, bro. It's
Yeah.
just like, anytime my mom always used to say this, like,
Mhm.
if like I had something to do and or like she had something to do, but she really didn't want to do it, and it was just like kind of just take care of it real quick. and then she'd finish, she'd be like, yeah, it's good enough for government work. You know what I mean? Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, I used to say that too. That's awesome.
Bro. Because, like, I don't know, bro. It's just, like, dealing with, like you said, on the federal level, on the state level, stuff should be definitely more efficient.
Mhm.
But it is, like, a lot of little people have to kind of, like, come together, like you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, we got to take the city back in a way. Honestly, I mean, I feel like it's getting there. Like, me and Drew, like, definitely interview, like, a lot of content creators and stuff like that. And so, you know, you got people who want to work together. You got people who are wanting to kind of, you know, build that bridge. You know, but this is kind of like the way that it happens. You know what I mean? I feel like, you know, we've put a platform on there where, you know, you get a little bit of everything. And that's just good for the people. Like, we need to come together as a city. You know what I mean? I feel like the more we see that we're a lot alike, you know, the better off we're going to be.
I agree.
Absolutely. You guys are educating people of St. Louis and people of other areas too. Because a lot of people don't know what's going on in St. Louis because it's a Midwestern town in Missouri.
Yeah.
People don't even know where Missouri is if you ask them.
No, for sure.
Yeah, so I think that's awesome, especially bringing in like different aspects of the town, not just
100%.
like one's like not just the same genre. You know, it's like you're like picking different groups and stuff.
That's one thing they say, like when you're starting out a podcast, if you look for like advice, if say you're gonna interview people, they're always like, oh, make sure you have a niche, blah blah blah. And then it would be like, say we were really into WWE, like we would only have WWE people on.
That's it.
I'd almost say that St. Louis is your niche. No?
Exactly.
It's almost like so I think that's awesome. I think you guys are doing a good job. I've seen some of your
I appreciate it, man.
lately for sure.
100%.
But yeah, that like going on that, it's like I look at like people like Joe Rogan, like or just big interviewers, like it really doesn't matter who they have on.
Yeah.
It's just about tapping into whatever market and learning about it.
100%.
Because I feel like, especially, niche would definitely be St. Louis because like,
we're just interested in the culture.
Yeah.
We're interested in like what makes the city.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of like what this podcast is like we're interested in what builds this city up, like what makes the city prominent, you know? And St. Louis right now is in a weird space to where we definitely are becoming more prominent.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether it be negative or positive, we're becoming more prominent.
Yeah. And a lot of people say like the issue with St. Louis is it's kind of hard to like tap into a certain market or like even get your head or your foot in the door because like, I don't know. A lot of people, they say this all the time. A lot of people in St. Louis like don't want other people to win. And it's weird. Like they kind of hold you back.
Yeah.
So that's just something we're trying to break with like, it's okay to like work together, have a community and like just win. Like you look at other people winning, that should be fine. You shouldn't have a problem with that. Like be inspired, if anything, be inspired by that, you know?
No, absolutely. I feel like you said, we need to make St. Louis more prominent because, you know, St. Louis has a history of being like very, very prestigious area a little bit, you know, because we had the Lamp beer company, we had Anheuser-Busch, we had a lot of development that was coming and it just kind of like fell off because of crime again.
Yeah.
But I feel like now it's kind of becoming a little bit more desirable. People might be considering
more people are probably going to start moving back to the city.
Hopefully
getting a team and
the problem with the city was that they kicked the county out of them. I don't know the right word, but they used to be like financially tied to each other and the city kicked the county out.
Okay.
So now they're separate. And I think the city wants them back because the county, of course, you know, is a little more developed. Has a little
where
bit
the
more
money is.
Yeah, but now the county obviously would not go back.
No.
So that's the problem, though. That's why St. Louis City is kind of like known for not being that great.
Yeah.
When you say like kick them out, what went into the process? Like, what do you mean? Like
that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. I just know the gist of it that they're separate now.
They're separate.
And it's been a while. It's not new. It's been years. It's been decades.
And if you live in St. Louis, you know that for a fact. Like it feels that way.
Yeah,
so.
I know because I live in St. Louis as well, so I have to pay that extra 1%. You know, the 1% tax.
Yeah.
That in the county you don't pay.
You don't pay it.
Yeah.
So because they're just trying to get more money, but something's got to change because we're not using our money efficiently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that happened in the city is like we used to have like a lot of factories, and then they shut down, and that kind of like ruined the economy for at least downtown. That was like I think that was like 50s, 60s or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Because I mean, you know, Ford and all those companies used to work here in St. Louis.
Chrysler.
Yeah, they basically sold and they went to like Detroit, places like that, you know, the Motor City.
Mhm.
So it's like, you know, it really sucks because like you said, it's like definitely that segregation piece, but I feel like we're coming out of it a little bit. It just has to be like a collective thing.
so in your
Mhm.
market, do you see like foreign entities like kind of buying a property at all?
I have not seen any foreign entities yet. I've seen other states.
Okay.
Like you see a lot of like, and I don't know if they're from Delaware or Colorado, but their LLCs are from
Mhm.
Delaware and Colorado.
Oof.
Yeah.
So you know they can have an LLC out of Delaware, but be based out of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they get around all that, but I've seen it happen before.
Oh my God.
So yeah, we've seen some other states investing in St. Louis.
Mhm.
Usually it's like I said, corporations.
Yeah, that's interesting. Do you have a final message for the people?
Man, what would I say? I'd say if you're considering getting into real estate, it's a good idea. Just be careful. Don't overextend yourself. It's going to be a difficult time, probably economic wise. So it's a good idea to protect yourself buying real estate because it tends to go up in value. It keeps appreciating.
Yeah.
But you don't want to, you know, buy at the peak that you can afford, and then end up, you know, having an issue with your job, maybe getting furloughed or laid off or something like that. And then, you know, worst comes to worst, a foreclosure or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't overextend yourself. And if you're worried about rent prices and stuff, look into like condos and that kind of stuff, because it's a really good way to get your foot in the door with real estate. Start getting some appreciation. You know, rent doesn't go up.
Yeah.
I mean, your mortgage might go up a little bit if taxes do, or if your escrow goes up, but it's not like $50 every year or something like that. $100 every year or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you get more stability. I think real estate's a good investment.
Yeah.
As a whole.
Where can the people find you?
You can find me on my Instagram. It's Edgar J Raya, Raya, or you could shoot me a text at 636-312-7342.
Okay. And now one last thing. Do you have an end goal?
You know, right now I just want to keep doing what I'm doing and see where I can take it.
Okay.
I don't want to cap myself off anywhere, but I'm just gonna play it as it goes.
Yeah. That's kind of how I feel as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, that's the best way to do it, you know?
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to this podcast. If you like the podcast, rate 5 stars. Go ahead and share it, comment, like, subscribe. Ken, you got anything for the people?
That's all I got. Honestly, here we have his brands here. We have his number here. Give him a call, a text. Edgar, thank you for coming on, my man.
Yeah, for
Yep,
sure,
we
guys.
appreciate
Thanks
it,
for
man.
having me. I appreciate
Talking some
nice.
realtor stuff with us, because honestly, yeah, me and Drew, we've mentioned this a couple times, and so you know, it's just something we've both been curious about. Like, you know, it's just a good market, and I feel like, you know, people our age definitely need to get back into housing, instead of renting, instead of, you know, looking at apartments, because like you said, there's no you don't get anything back from that. You know, once the money you puts in there, it's basically gone. So, you know, it's good to get into housing. And I think that like the more we start to figure that kind of stuff out as a generation, the better it's going to be for everyone. So
Absolutely.
100%, man.
I agree with that.
Would you ever make content videos, do you think, for like...
I've thought about that.
You should do that. You should do that, bro.
Dude, seriously.
That will take you to levels that you won't even understand yet. I think you should do it for sure.
I'll definitely consider that. I've always thought about it, but I was like, I don't know how
There's value in the knowledge that you have, because a lot of people don't have that knowledge.
No.
And if you can get that to the people, it's gonna take you to levels.
I used to make videos on Facebook, but then I just kind of like dropped off it.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I'll probably
man.
maybe look into that.
All right. Thanks for listening.
See you guys.